Hey guys, this article came across my news feed today. On Facebook it was, yes. And I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. This is spectacular. Not the fact, hey Stacy, not the fact that a childhood trauma leads to lifelong illness being spectacular, but the fact that the science is out there supporting what I do to help others and what many, many other people do to help others. How are you today, Stacy? Hey Vanya, thanks for joining. We're discussing this article from the Huffington Post. Childhood trauma leads to lifelong chronic illness. So why isn't the medical community helping patients? I'm doing good. I was really tired last night. I slept really well. So I'm just going to read parts of this article and discuss it because it is so significant to energy healing and how myself and others who help other people to heal from past traumas, how it can really help. So this woman starts the article talking about her own history with experiencing a traumatic event, their father passing away. And you can click the link on my Twitter feed there and you can go to it and you can read the article for yourself. It's a little lengthy. Hello Hassan, thanks for joining. So she talks about how her father had passed away and how he, what's LOL? Oh, the Jello. Okay, gotcha. How he had passed away. And then she ended up with a number of issues, physical issues, like fainting. It started out with fainting when she was 14. Her father passed away when she was 12. And then she ended up having seizures, getting something put in her heart because of that. And then she ended up with Guillain-Barré syndrome in the hospital on the anniversary of her father's death. And so her physician, when she was in there, she says, it wasn't until I was 51 years old that a physician sat me down and asked me the most important question of my life, one that would lead me to better health than I had had for decades. He asked, were there any childhood traumas or stressors that might have contributed to the extreme, thank you for inviting followers, Hassan, to the extreme level of inflammation you're experiencing as an adult? And so he went on to explain how adversity in childhood leads to a chronic state of fight, flight, or freeze. And that's something I emphasize on my scopes with you guys, is allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself that when a trauma occurs, and it can be a light trauma, it can be a heavy, deep trauma, allowing yourself to say, it is okay for me to feel this. It's okay for me to be traumatized, feel fear, or whatever the emotions are, so that those emotions don't become deep-rooted in us and cause more health problems. So she said that he explained all of this and her symptoms started to get better. So she's a science reporter and she started researching this, and she said she discovered that research linking childhood stress to adult illness actually began in 1996, a study with the Kaiser Permanente CDC study. So the Centers for Disease Control, which I have not a very high affinity for, did this study. So since then, over 1,500 peer-reviewed studies have replicated the findings. So she talks about the research that 2/3 of Americans report experiencing adverse childhood events, and they can include obvious sexual and physical abuse, but also stressors that a lot of people consider normal, like growing up with divorced parents. Hello, Samaz. Thank you for joining. We're having a discussion about this wonderful article in the Huffington Post. And living with a depressed or alcoholic mom or dad, having a parent who belittled or humiliated you, or similarly. Hello, Susitimi. Thank you for joining. Hey there, I can't pronounce that one. It's just a bunch of odd characters. And people who experience 4 such categories of childhood adversity were twice as likely to be diagnosed with cancer and depression as adults. And so with energy healing, we go to the roots, we find these traumas, and we clear the energies surrounding these things that happen as adults or as children, so our bodies can free up to heal themselves. And then it says that one study of 125 patients showed that when physicians acknowledged and discussed patients' childhood trauma openly, patients enjoyed a 35% reduction in doctor visits. Wow! Can you imagine what energy work and acknowledging trauma can do to help to relieve the burden on our healthcare system? It's simply amazing. And it goes on to say, Hello, Paris. Yet, despite 20 years of research linking childhood stress to adult disease, the majority of the medical community acts as if these findings don't even exist. Let me work with you. Let me work with your body and work with your doctors to help free things up for you as they get to the roots and help do the surface work, the band-aid work, helping with the symptoms, but let's get to the root of them. And whether it be with me or someone else, or even yourself learning how to do the energy work on yourself. This August, students will, and then there's also a video on here, like a 3 minute video, where the writer of the article, she talks about it a little bit, and she goes on, that's inserted in the middle, so I mentioned it, and she says, all disease is multifactorial. Past trauma is one of those factors. I can't help but think of how my own story might have been different if the medical community had been trauma aware. That's why I so frequently stress with people when I work on them. Allow yourself to feel. It is normal. You are an emotional being. You're a spiritual spirit with emotions, and this physical body that is reacting to all of the emotions that you go through when you experience life. Because life happens, right? There's the saying, shit happens. Life happens. And so then she says, what if after my father's sudden death, the emotional cost of such a traumatic loss had been validated and our medical system had offered therapeutic interventions? It's been 2 decades since research linking childhood adversity to adult illness began, but think of how much money we might have saved in our healthcare system if we considered the role that past trauma plays in one's current medical condition instead of waiting a lifetime for it to show up. According to the CDC, now listen to this statistic is staggering. It's mind-blowing. Listen carefully. According to the CDC, the annual healthcare cost of adult patients who have a history of early trauma is $124 billion every year. Do the math, okay? And if you are one of the individuals who's suffering with chronic illness and disease and might have had traumatic experience as a childhood, it can be simple traumas. Imagine the cost that you're paying out for your health care versus doing energy healing sessions, which average between $50 and $150. And you do a few sessions and clear some of these traumas and see relief from some of these symptoms versus paying for medicines and doctor visits over and over and over again. And you get nowhere, but then you end up with more health problems due to the onslaught that your body is receiving from all the medications that you're taking, and the liver being clogged with issues. And then so your liver has like over 400 functions for your body. If your liver isn't fully functioning, if 1 or 2 of those functions can't operate at its peak performance because your liver is clogged, imagine what happens when you even pop an ibuprofen pill, right? I mean, they say, liver damage, Tylenol, something as simple as an over-the-counter medicine drug can harm our liver. Imagine what is happening to individuals who are on pain meds and all of their anti-inflammatory medicines and heart disease medicines over the years. So if you want more information on energy healing, I am familiar with that. And if you want more information on healing, on how I can help you, I have a Store Envy account back there. You can purchase a session back there, or follow my scopes, and I will talk to you later. I gotta get back to work, but I really needed to stop in and drop this article. Read the article, comment on it, share it across your social media platforms, because people need to know how much trauma is affecting their current health problems. Talk to you guys later.